run away yet. If you're a typical stock trader and have never done any programming, this is really simple. I'm going to walk you right through it. But this is a really cool thing to learn, and you might actually enjoy it and might get into it, yourself. I am a developer in my past history. I've done a little of this, little that. You might not realize it, but a lot of the stock traders in the stock market, a lot of them are kind of programmers. All these quants, you hear the word quant, they're very highly, programmer savvy. They know how to do all kinds of cool things. And one of the coolest languages to learn, especially today, is Python. So Python is used in a lot of that stuff, a lot of that quantitative analysis, a lot of that, basically math and equations that go all into type of analysis and data mining. So Python is like a really interesting language right now because it's getting a lot of attention for data scientists to do all these different type of measures and graphs and cool stuff like that. But for today, I kind of wanted to show you what you could do within just a few minutes, right, of coding and a few lines, and how it relates to kind of the stock market. So what I'm going to show you here in a minute is walk you through something that I made basically on my recent experience with Python and just dabbling on my own. So what is this program? What are we going to do? This program is a simple tool that tells you what the current stock is, what the stock price, the stock symbol. It's really up to you what you want to pull. And I'm going to be showing you how to do that because there's a lot of data here that you can get at your fingertips, and it's all free. Okay, free as in moderate use. Okay, you can't get all the data you want. You have to pay for that kind of fees, but it's free to the point of one user, two users, whatever. But basically, I'm going to show you how to make this app, and what it does is it's basically a lookup symbol, right? So if you want to look for the current price of Apple, you click in the box, type Apple, and there you go. It tells you the name of the company, it tells you the price, and it tells you the ticker. Obviously, you already know the ticker because you put it in there. There's one of the couple of things that I want to do with this is kind of expand this app, and we'll get into that later. But this is a very early stage of this application, and it's really just more for a foundational part to kind of get you rolling. So stay tuned here and let's get started. Okay, so first thing you want to do is download an IDE, basically a tool to program. Now you could do this with really just a text editor, but if you want to follow with me, I use Visual Studio Code. You can use anything such as Sublime Text. You could use Python Charm, PyCharm, which is really good if you are going to be stuck on Python. There's many other tools you can use that are, a lot of them are free. This is free, so it's up to you what you want to use. But first thing you want to do is download this. Okay, just follow the prompts. If you're Windows, it's pretty self-explanatory. If you're doing something else, it's whatever. So now in here, you just want to create a new file. So we're going to create a new file, and I'm going to save this file as a Py file. So you can hit Control S, and just save it wherever. We'll call this stock or YouTube stock ticker .py. And if you don't know, you can go all files. There you go. Okay, I'm going to walk you through the code, but I'm not going to go into super duper detail. You can kind of do your own research and ask questions down below on how I did certain things. But I'm going out there and saying that you probably don't know anything about Python, so I'm going to give you a very high level. Okay, if you want anything lower, there's lots of YouTube tutorials. I am by no means a professional educator on Python. Okay, I know what I need to know to get what I want done. Okay, so with that said, let's get started, and don't be scared. If you've never programmed before, this stuff is super easy. All right, so first thing I do is I need to import certain things for my platform, right? So I know I need to do a few things. Well, let's back up. This is going to be a desktop app. So if you don't know, tkinter is the native platform that is built into Python. So you don't need anything extra besides importing tkinter. It's open source, it's free available. It works on cross platforms, Windows and Linux, Mac, which is great because you can package this up and create an exe for any of those platforms. And that's what's so powerful about Python as well, is that you could build a full-fledged program and you could distribute it to anything. And there's even mobile plugins now these days called Kiwi, I believe it is, that lets you put it on a phone app, which is even cooler. So I'm gonna actually get into that later. That's kind of interesting. Anyway, so first thing we do is we do an import statement. So I'm gonna go ahead and start typing. So from tkinter, okay. And I have my notes here, so I'm gonna look at my notes, make sure I don't forget what I was doing here. And then I'm gonna import PIL. Now you don't need all this. This is more if you, this is optional. So some of the stuff is if you want to put images on tkinter. I can explain it later. But let's see, image, you don't need this, but I'm gonna add it later, and I'll show you that maybe in a different video. We'll go into that. We'll put it there, but we can talk more about it. I'm gonna add requests. So requests is it's a plugin for the API, and then I'm gonna also import JSON, which is pre-built. Now, if you've never installed Python, you're gonna need to go ahead and follow that process. And basically go to Python, download version 3, follow the prompts, make sure you add the Python environment variables when it asks you, do you want these to be added to your environment variables? And you say yes, check that checkbox. I'm not gonna go through it, but if you really want me to, comment down below and I'll do a separate video for you. But make sure Python's installed, make sure you have pip working. So pip is a package manager. It's how we install these add-ons that we want to do cool things like requests, like it's an actual package. So you would do pip install requests. I already have it, so it's gonna tell me I already have it, which is fine. Okay, so now we have this. So I'm using tkinter. So tkinter, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say root equals tk. Okay, and let's just tell me I'm using tkinter. Do root next. Now this is how you set the title. Let's see, I could call it whatever I want. I could call it stock ticker. Put quotes here. Okay, 2000, right? Now you can name it whatever you want. That's up to you. Now this, if you wanted to pull that image, you would do root dot icon bitmap your path. So it would be like your C path. So this is single quotes, and then whatever you like, desktop, whatever. Okay, but I'm not going to do that, so I'm going to disable it and just comment that out. And if you don't know, hashtag is a comment. All right, so this is going to be a certain size, and I'm going to just set the size, whatever I want. For now, I'm going to put the geometry, which is basically how it's framed, to a certain size, and I'm going to say 1000 by, we'll do 200. Okay, you could do 100, but let's see how this looks. All right, when we're done. Before I do that, I'm going to put something down here. Loop. Let's see what happens. What did I forget? Oh, I forgot my equal sign. Okay, save it. Now in Visual Studio, you just hit F5 to open the debug, and then click Python file, and it will go ahead and launch. Okay, so did I spelled something wrong. I spelled this tinctor, and it told me actually it was misspelled. I just didn't, I ignored it. All right, so I open my other window here, and there you go. It's just a whole bunch of nothing, all right? But you can see it's in the aspect ratio that we set, 1000 by 200. And you can play with that, and you can also kind of frame it and make it adjustable. You can lock it in. There's some parameters you can set there as well. So I'm gonna hit the stop button just to stop it, and we're gonna add some things. So I'm gonna go a little fast here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and put this in. I went ahead and pre-did this, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start it off for you. So we want to create a function, and this function is going to do a couple things. This function is going to go ahead and call an API. All right, I'm going to show you that how we get the API here in a second, but we want to do a try catch. In case there's an error, it goes to an exception. And the reason behind that is because if you error, you could have some bad problems. It could hang up your process. It could just not work real well. You couldn't figure it out. It's hard to debug. So this is kind of a standard thing to do. So we're going to name this stock lookup. Did I spell it? Yeah, that's lookup. And yeah, that there. And let's see, what did I do? I did it this way. Now, one thing I had problems with here was some global variables. You don't really want to use global variables unless you really have to. So we're gonna try not to use any global variables. But here's the try, and then the way it works in Python is you have to tab. Okay, there's no spaces. Don't even hit the space bar at all if you can. Don't hit the arrow keys if you have to. Only hit enter, tab, and shift tab. Okay, because what's happening is Python sees spaces in it, it'll throw an error and it doesn't like it at all. So if you mess up, just backspace, hit enter again, and it'll kind of indent for you. So this is our try. We're gonna go ahead and do an accept. Exception. We'll call it E : okay. And then here I could do a print statement. I'll add some more here later. That way I can say what my error was. Okay. All right, so we have that there. So before we add more to this, I'm going to show you how you're getting this data and what you need to do. So there's a free tool here, or free platform called IEX. Okay, so here is the IEX Cloud. It is a free to use platform that will get you stock data. Just know there is a paid version, so if you're trying to get something that you're getting rejected, it's probably because it's for a paid membership. It's still pretty cheap. I mean, you could sign up. I don't remember how much it is, but it's based on how often your transactions are. So if you're building an enterprise grade application and you're presenting to other users, they're going to be using your API key, and you're going to be billed for it. So just keep that in mind. If you build something and then you use a production API key in your app and you give it to people, and you're wondering why you're getting charged or all your data is being used, it's because it's being used, and that's what you signed up for. So just click the follow links, getting started. You can do all this and sign up. Once you sign up, you want to go to, actually here's pricing. You can look at pricing. So individuals, $9 a month. Okay, it's cheaper now. So that's actually not that bad because you get full access to multiple data sets, stocks, bonds, all that crap. And I'll show you what kind of data you're getting. Go ahead and get that, and then once you do that, you'll get an API tab, and you could see here. Let's see, you have API tokens. These are my old ones. Now, I'm going to be deleting these, so if you want to take them, they're not going to do anything. So grab a token, okay, and copy that and put it on Notepad somewhere. Okay, so we have this IEX platform, right? And what do we want to get, right? We want to get some basic stock symbols. Well, you could get other things if you want. You can get option data. I mean, I was working on a project that I was taking all the options and I was trying to do some kind of not quantitative stuff, but analysis on it to see where high volume or open interest is in certain categories and certain options, where the expiring ones were. But for us, we're just going to use stock symbols and make it really simple. Now, if you've never done this before, you can download an API testing tool. I use this thing called Talent. It's a Google plugin you can get on the Chrome store. Basically, what we're going to do is this. We're going to go ahead and use this API tester. And this is what I've done earlier. But basically, you want to use this. I'll put this down in a link below as an example. You can also find this example URL on the IEX support page. This is where I got this one, and I managed to change it up a little bit. But here, you basically get the URL, right? And it's saying last price or latest price, and it asks for your token. Oops. Control Z. So you put your token in there, and it'll go ahead and create the parameters for you. Hit send, and 209. Okay. It works. So that was basically saying that the Apple stock right here was the last one. I just queried that one. So I put Apple in here. You can change this to SPY, right? Oh, did I do that right? Hold on. Apple 290. What's Yeah, okay, so BA is Boeing, so Boeing's 127, you see down here below. Now doing it this way is a little bit different. I didn't really want this. I wanted a whole bunch of stuff. So let me show you a different way of getting it. Okay, so I just had to get my other API. Okay, so I just got one I saved here locally. Basically, this is a different URL, so this is a little bit different. I'm still getting Apple, but I'm getting a batch. And a batch is basically everything about this stock. Like, give me the symbol, give me whatever you got, right? And you can actually say what you want and from what chart ranges and everything, which is really cool. So I have here types, quotes, news, charts, range, 1 minute, last 10, and there's the token. All right. So when I hit send, scroll down here below, and this is called a JSON response. And this is what I get back, right? The API is telling me, hey, you wanted Apple, here's Apple, and here's all the crap that goes with it. And what's powerful here is that, you know, our example app, all it was doing was basically just telling the price, right, and the symbol. Well, you could easily modify this code to say, you know, you want the high time, you want the close, you know, all this stuff. There's so much data here you can get here, the 52-week high. And this is all, I mean, look at this news. You can pull news. This is a really cool project if you're interested. Just pull the news. And that's actually a good idea now I think about it, as an app that basically will, you know, every, you know, I don't know, 3 minutes, pull news about this, you know, stock or something that you want to focus on. And it's kind of something you can put on the side. You can make it as a website. So you can kind of see the potential, right? I mean, there's lots of power here that's totally free. Granted, you can only do so many queries per, you know, so many, I don't know how many queries you're maxed at, but I mean, it's plenty to, you know, get what you want. So really powerful stuff here. You can go dive in deeper. There's charts here. You can make a chart out of this data. It's really cool stuff. Okay, so that is the API testing tool. You can play with it here. Let's go back to the code and try it out. Okay, so where we left off was we have this try statement and we have nothing in there. So I already went ahead and kind of made something. I'm just gonna post it in here. All right, so okay, so let's clean this up. Okay, so what's going on here? So basically this is doing a couple things. This is calling that API, and let's go line by line. So API request, I'm setting a variable that says, okay, call requests and go to that same URL that we went to with the tester, right? What's different here is I'm adding a zip get, and zip is a Python function internally that goes through literals and it iterates through. So if you were just to put something different here, like a variable or even a global variable, you're going to get an error. And that's actually what I ran into. I had to look deeper and find a function that did it for me. So what we did here is we concatenated this call. So you can do more. So if you wanted to say, if you have a variable that you're presenting to the user, like you want to change quotes or remove these type of parameters, that's how you do it. You make a variable and then call it later on. So then we're setting the API JSON, so we're getting that JSON, right? And then we're dumping it into that variable. And symbol and price and company name are the three things that I'm looking for on that JSON. So the way it works is I'm saying API, quote, and symbol. So it's key value pairs for JSON. So if I go back real quick and look at that JSON response, and if I were to copy that and then open a new file, so there's some cool stuff here you can do. JSON, and I'm going to save it as all files. Now this is saved as a JSON file. I'm going to paste it in here, and it's already pre-formatted. But if you had one that wasn't formatted, there is a plugin in here that you can download to format it for you in Visual Studio Code, which is you use, I think it's like Shift Control C, I think. I can't remember. I'll have to figure it out. Anyway, so quote and then symbol. See how that works? Okay. Okay, so we're setting these variables based on that JSON response, and we want to use it later on, right? And that's how we're getting the the pop-up. So then we set root, configure the background. I'm just setting the background color to this yellow color. You could set it to whatever color you want, but that's just optional for you. Then we're creating a label, so I called it my label, and then we're using root, the company name. Now this is where the actual label comes out. When we launch this, and we need to add a few more things here before we launch it, but what you're doing is you're setting the label to the following data you just pulled from the API, right? So I'm saying, concatenating this currently priced at the string price. Now, when you do get that variable as a integer, we want to present as a string, so you have to convert it via the string function, and we wrap it around that. Then we're pulling the symbol again, and then I'm just formatting it via font. So this is how you would do that, and this is how you set the size of the font. And then there's a background color if you want to match the background color so it's not like inlaid. But we can fix that later on. And then we're just going to snap it to the grid. So we're going to call my label and set grid, and then we're going to set the row and size and where it's going to be positioned at. There's more things you could do here to make it a little more snappy, a little snazzy, but for now it's fine. Here's our exception. Now we are going to basically say API, if it fails, error, whatever, something bad happens. So, and we could do something cool there and maybe present to the user or something, right? Okay, so we have our try catch. Now we want to finish up some of these buttons, and we want to add a button basically, right? So we also want to actually take data from that button. So I'm gonna go ahead and paste this in here, and I'll explain this. So zip, remember this zip? This is where we're defining it. Zip is the entry on that form, on that our program, and then we're snapping it via grid, and we're setting it right there. Okay. Let's see. So stock button, we're basically saying stock button equals a button, and then we're setting the text to lookup symbol. So you can name the button whatever you want, how it's displayed, the text, whatever. And then we're saying here, command, go launch this function. And that function is the one up here that starts everything, right? That's how it works. So when you hit the button, it's launching that function right there. And by the way, def is how we set a Python function. Okay, I think I have a formatting thing here I have to fix, but we'll figure that out. And then we're just snapping into the grid, and we're setting the row and the height and everything. And then stick is just basically making sure it sticks together from all angles. And that's what that means, that parameter. Let me close the loop. I think that's it. So let's try it, see what kind of errors we get here. So invalid syntax, I'm forgetting, I didn't realize it, I'm forgetting the colon. So whenever you have a function, you always got to have a colon there. All right, so do that. All right, what do we do? What issue we have now? Stock lookup. Oh, I think I forgot to, I renamed this a little bit differently. So stop that. Capital L. Okay. Let's try this. Okay, on my different window. And there we go. That's it. So now let's see if it works. If I put in the SPY, there we go. It works. Let's see if it keeps working though. Let's see if we change it up. So let's try, I don't know, Facebook. Let's try Facebook. Facebook. There it is. Let's try Boeing. Boeing. So you can see here the sizing you can play with. And there's some, looks like the lettering is messed up here. We might want to put like a clear or something to make sure it's clear. So yeah, but that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, if you want to, change this, feel free, change the code. I'll upload this to GitHub. I have a GitHub page you can check out, download the code and try it out yourself. I will be changing the API keys, token keys. But besides that, it's really powerful stuff. If you never got into Python, and you're sitting at home and you got nothing to do, I got a lot to do, but I mean, if you have some willpower to learn, this is some really cool stuff that you could really make something for yourself. I mean, if you wanted to make just a CRM database for your own personal use, you could do that with Python pretty easily. And if you guys like this kind of stuff, if you want to see more of it, let me know. If you have any ideas that is something you think of that I can try and look into. I'm not the best at this, right? I'm good enough to get by, but I'm interested in new projects. To let you know what I want to do with this, I want to make this a stock ticker that rotates, okay? Like how you see in Wall Street, and it goes by all the different things. So I want to work on that. I want to work on some of the coloring. I want to see if it's up price, down in price, what percentage it is. I want to showcase that. I might even want to showcase a little chart, maybe the intraday chart. Things like that are really cool. I also want to maybe pull the news, get the latest news, because we can easily add that at the bottom, and kind of make it a little snazzy, little spice it up a little bit. But that's it. So do me a favor, guys, hit the subscribe button, like the video if you liked it, and if you want to see more, let me know in the comments down below. And I hope you guys stay safe and get away from this COVID stuff. So I'll see you next time. Thanks.